Welcome to the introductory lecture for ME 296, Introduction to Mechatronics for the fall semester 2020 at SDSU. This video will give an overview of the course goals, the class structure, and the safety requirements for the in-person labs. So mechatronics is a field that integrates mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, robotics, and control systems. This course is intended as an introduction to the field with the overall goal of preparing you for ME 330, the mechatronics laboratory. So the goals for the course are, you will learn the scientific principles behind circuits and their application. This includes where voltage and current come from, as well as their impact on a circuit. We will also cover resistance and reactance, which are some of the responses components can have to voltage and current. You'll be introduced to semiconductors, their physical foundations, as well as use. This course will also teach you how to construct and identify basic circuits and their intended uses. We will also introduce some basic control theory and transfer functions so that we can see why a device or circuit is used for a specific task. And in order to discern the difference between theory and reality, you will also learn how to use measurement tools to decipher the behavior of a circuit and if it is behaving correctly or incorrectly. Interpreting and creating circuit diagrams will be an important feature, as you will need to build circuits from diagrams in the lab portion. The class itself is split into two parts, the lecture and the lab. The lecture portion will consist of 2 hours of lecture and a set of exercises each week. I will also have 2 office hours, which will be set on the class calendar. Due to the pandemic, the lectures will be delivered online through a series of videos you must watch each week before coming to lab. There will typically be 3 to 4 videos covering the topics that you're expected to learn this week. I will also do my best to provide alternative sources, including articles, videos, and books on each subject in order to help with understanding. The assignments will all be turned in online, and the only acceptable format is PDF. If you're doing calculations, you can do those on paper, but you must take a picture and insert it into a PDF. There will also be 3 exams, 2 midterms, and 1 final. These will be done at home, and due to the impossibility of proctoring at-home exams, they will be open book and open note. And if people choose to work together, because I cannot stop you, each person must state the answer in their own words. The exams will be similar to the homework in that they will be turned in online in a PDF format, and I will open the exams the morning of the test day and close the turn-in time at midnight that same day. The format of the final will be determined a little bit closer to that date, and more information on how we're handling finals will happen a little bit later in the semester. The laboratory part is the in-person part of this class, and due to the pandemic will be handled differently than other lab classes that have happened previously. So in order to make everything as expedient as possible, you will be expected to read the lab thoroughly beforehand. You should understand what it is you are building and how you will go about it. You should come to class prepared with questions. Of course, unexpected things will come up, but they can be handled more efficiently if you already know the basics of what is expected of you during the lab. An ideal lab session will go as follows. You arrive at the lab, you will grab a bag of parts from the front, you will build your circuit, take pictures and measurements, take your circuit apart, put everything back in the bag, and then leave. There will not be any loitering, and if you leave parts on your work table, you lose 10% of your grade for that lab. So clean up after yourselves, please. The lab report itself will be due the following week before the next lab section. If you have a lab on Tuesday at 10 a.m., for example, the lab report is due next Tuesday at 9:59. Anytime before that is fine, but that is the last time you will be allowed to turn it in. Now for the most important part, which is safety. Everyone will be expected to follow health and safety guidelines at all times, no exceptions. The first rule, masks are required at all times. A mask will cover your mouth and nose at all times and have no gaps with your skin, which means you cannot just tie a bandana around the back of your head. It must not contain vents or holes. A vent in a mask negates the entire purpose of a mask during a disease outbreak. And finally, a face shield is not a mask. If you want to wear a face shield with a mask, you can do so, but not instead of a mask. If you're not wearing an appropriate mask, you'll be sent from the room and you cannot come in until you have an appropriate mask. Also, due to department guidelines, I will be taking your temperature before allowing you into the room. If you have a temperature of 100 degrees Fahrenheit or higher, I will inform you, and you cannot enter the room. You have the option of sitting down for a few minutes in a cool spot and getting your temperature retaken in 10 minutes or so. And then if on the second time you're still above 100, you'll be sent home. You should also be washing your hands often. And if you have sanitizer, use it often. Keep a clean workstation to reduce clutter and instances where stuff can build up, like grime or gunk, and help just generally keep germs down. We will also be doing our best to maintain social distancing. There'll be no crowding in any areas. If you need me to come and look at your circuit, I'm going to ask you to step away before I come over so we can stay 5 feet apart at all times. If you don't think you can handle all of this, you have the option to sign up for the at-home version of the class through the Student Success Center. You can do this up until the add drop deadline, September 4th. It may take a couple of days for the paperwork to process, so start early if you want to do that. All right, if you have any questions, you all have my email address. Other than that, that's the introduction. Thank you.